A thread by Brian the Great. You gotta understand, people, DC is crawling with lobbyists year round, and the annual federal spending package is their big moment. These lobbyists spend all year working our Congress for their big moment. 115,745,000 on a wild horse and burro program. Thanks, Congress. Certain rich people spend a whole lot of their money lobbying our Congress around the clock for a year, and they expect their investment in lobbyists and graft to pay off. And the day the annual federal spending package is passed is the day they get their return. They pass this monstrous $1 trillion plus bill every year with all this stuff dropped in at once to avoid accountability. It's always been done during a time the public is preoccupied with other things and not really paying attention. This year we're paying attention. And we rarely find out which specific members of Congress got lobbied, i.e. bribed, with a couple $1,000s to put stuff like $115 million payout to the people running a wild horse and burro program in the annual federal spending bill. They take their fingerprints off. This is how the lobbying system works. Rich donors send lobbyists to DC to work the room and find members of Congress who, in exchange for a couple $100,000, will send hundreds of millions of our taxpayer dollars into programs, industries, companies the donors control. You want $115 million for your pet program? It only makes sense to spend $6 or $7 million of your own money hiring lobbyists to work the room in the Congress to get that line put in the federal spending bill. You get a massive return on your investment. It's just good business. And a lot of the people crafting where massive amounts of United States taxpayer dollars actually end up aren't even Americans. They are lobbyists for foreign nations and corporations. This is the system that Donald Trump went to DC to take on. Obviously, he hasn't defeated it yet until we fix it so that every member of Congress who adds a line to the federal spending bill has to identify who they are. They'll be able to avoid accountability and keep raking in the cash from the people lobbying them. You want $50 million for a transgender program in Pakistan? Great! But when you'd have to publicly identify yourself as the member of Congress who succeeded in adding that item to the federal spending bill, you'll lose your anonymity and people will be able to hold you accountable for doing that. Trump has two big items to tackle in his second term. One, fixing the federal election system in the corrupt states where massive federal election fraud has been taking place for decades. And two, fixing the graft industry that has seized control of our Congress. And as if to prove my point, look what Trump did today. He's appointing people to the board of this center that always seems to get massive amounts of federal taxpayer cash from Tracy Beans. Today, President Donald J. Trump announced his intent to appoint the following individuals to key positions in his administration. Pam Bondi of Florida to be a member of the Board of Trustees at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Edward McMullen Jr. of South Carolina to be a member of the Board of Trustees of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, Paolo Zampoli of New York to be a member of the Board of Trustees of the John F. Kennedy Center of the Performing Arts. That's a place that just obviously is a money laundering operation for the Dems. By January 6th, a lot is going to be clear about how Trump will get the second term. And then he's going to unleash his inner swamp draining beast. A lot has been set up in the first terms, positioning things for the second term.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.